difference between profitable traders that are consistent are the ones who are aware of their strengths and weaknesses. Some of these weaknesses are based on a lot of these cognitive biases that I've discussed. As we've gone through this discussion, you probably recognize a lot of these behaviors yourself in your own trading. Don't kick yourself about it. It's actually quite normal because we're human beings and you can't get rid of these cognitive biases. However, you can lessen their impact. You can recognize them as they're starting to rise. When you start recognizing, for example, you start recognizing cognitive bias, if you review your trades, you're journaling your trades, and then at the end of every week, you review each trade and the decision process in that trade. And then you recognize that, oh, hold on a minute. I entered this losing trade because I only looked at this information. But if I would have looked at this information, I probably would have not taken that trade, right? But you only know this in hindsight, of course, when it's already occurred. But that information there, if that happens 10 times, then you realize that, okay, this trade, I keep ignoring that information. Therefore, I need to learn this lesson. I need to now take into account that information and this information in order to trade this particular setup. But that only occurs if you are journaling your trades and then reviewing them. It's hard work. It's not easy. Trading alone, the actual process of finding trades, researching, analyzing, forecasting, the trading plan, entering trades, managing the trade, closing the trade, that in itself is hard work. To then having to journal that trade and then review a cluster of trades, that in itself is another job. That's what being a profitable trader involves. You need to make the time for that. If it means that you have to reduce the amount of time that you are on the charts in order to review your trades because you only have a limited time, either because of work, family, other commitments, then so be it. Take the time out. Take the time out to journal your trades. Take the time out to review those trades, because time spent on reviewing your trades more than executing more and more trades, you'll gain so many insights. You will progress so much faster, and you would actually compound. You become more profitable than if you were just to execute trades without journaling. And you think that you're going to remember everything. You're going to remember this trade. You're going to remember the mistake. You're going to remember exactly what you did on that trade. And then you move on to the next one. That's again, in itself, a bias. If you think you can just magically remember every single trade you've taken in the last 4 weeks and remember all the mistakes that you made, all the things that you did well, and all the lessons that you learned from each trade. If you think that you can do that mentally, then think again. By taking the time out to actually review these trades is so key and important. One piece of advice that has constantly come up during this discussion is the importance of the power of planning the trade. Planning the trade, every single trade in advance with multiple scenarios. By doing this, you are actually lessening the impact of these biases. Think about it. Let's say, the typical confirmation bias or the gambling fallacy or anchoring bias. If you would have a checklist of your strategy and you would have scenario A, B, and C. So if A occurs, you will do this to your target, or you will do this to your stop loss. If B occurs, you will close out here. If C occurs, you hold your winner. A, B, C. You have different scenarios and you know exactly what's going to happen. Now, when the trade is actually active and you're managing it, you recognize that, oh, scenario C has occurred. In that case, I'm going to hold this trade. So you stick to the plan. You have the plan. You recognize what ends up happening, and then you follow through on the plan. That in itself is so powerful, because the plan should also include things like what the opposing alternative scenarios are, the opposing fundamentals, the opposing technical. This is the power of the trading plan. You've got the famous saying, plan the trade, trade the plan. Don't know who came up with that, but that is exactly what needs to be done on a consistent basis. Plan the trade, trade the plan. It's so simple, such a simple concept, yet so powerful. Yet most traders ignore this. The opposite of not having a trading plan is impulsive trading, breaking the rules. And that's why most traders, they don't make it, because they They're so impulsive.